Hello, everyone. Today we are talking about the monkey's paw, the horror. Anyways, so this story is completely different than anything that we've looked at so far in our Gothic unit. And the main reason for that is it's a completely different author, right? We've studied two American authors so far. We looked at Edgar Allan Poe first, and we looked at him really closely and really thoroughly, right? We made sure that we understood everything that was going on, every symbol, every theme, right? We looked so closely. And then after that, we moved on to Stephen King, right? And he's written a lot more recently. So his stories are a little shorter. They're a lot easier to understand. And so we kind of just cruised through those ones really easily. Well, now we're making a shift, okay? Totally different author. Went back to the good old days, like Edgar Allan Poe's time, right? But instead of being an American writer, he's a British writer, so his vocabulary is different, his writing style is different, and of course, it's a different story. So I thought we would start with a summary. This video that I'm going to share with you, I'm also going to share the link with you because the guy who narrates it, although he does a wonderful job, does it very, very fast. So if you needed to watch this video one more time, just this monkey's paw video summary one more time at 0.75 speed, I really wouldn't blame you because it's fast. All right. Okay, here it is.
The story is set in England around the turn of the 20th century. It opens with the elderly Mr. and Miss White and their son Herbert in their cozy family home one stormy evening. Father and son are playing chess while Miss White knits by the fire. From their conversation, it is apparent that they are expecting a visitor. He soon arrives and is introduced by Mr. White as Sergeant Major Morris. The family welcomes him warmly and as he relaxes with a drink. He tells them exciting stories of his time in India, then under British rule. Mr. White remarks that he would like to see the strange and exotic sights of India, but Morris says he's better off at home. Mr. White remembers the strange tale of a monkey's paw that Morris recently told him. Morris is somewhat reluctantly shows them the paw and declares them that an old Indian fakir placed a spell on it. As a result, according to Morris, the paw has the power to grant 3 wishes, but brings disaster upon the wisher in the process. Morris then tosses the paw into the fire, but Mr. White hastily retrieves it. Morris warns him to have nothing to do with the paw. However, the Whites are curious, and Mr. White ends up buying the paw from Morris. After Morris leaves, the Whites decide to put the paw to the test. Mr. White admits that he can't think of anything to wish for. Herbert suggests that he asks for £200 to help with the mortgage. Mr. White wishes upon the paw and is shocked when he feels it move in his hand. Nothing else happens, and Herbert scoffs that he's not likely to ever see the money. After this, Mr. and Miss White retire to bed. Herbert remains in the room for a while, imagining pictures in the fire. Finally, he sees a strange monkey-like face in the flames, which frightens him. Reaching for some water to pour on the fire, he accidentally touches the monkey's paw, which alarms him further. In this rather unsettled mood, he heads for bed. Next morning dawns bright and cheerful, and Herbert is able to scorn his misgivings of the previous night. He jokes with his parents about the monkey's paw, then leaves for work. Miss White continues to tease her husband about having made the wish, but she too appears to be on the lookout for something to happen, and is disappointed when the morning mail only brings a bill. However, she's intrigued when a well-dressed stranger unexpectedly turns up at the front door. She makes him as welcome as she can, believing that he is bringing them good news about the £200. In fact, he has come to tell them that Herbert has been killed in an accident at work. The old couple are utterly devastated at this news, but there is worse to come. The stranger says that they will receive £200 in compensation, exactly the sum that Mr. White wished for upon the monkey's paw. At this revelation, Miss White screams aloud and Mr. White collapses in a faint. After Herbert's funeral, his grieving parents return to the family home, which now appears desolate. A few nights later, Mr. White awakens to find his wife lamenting their son at the window. Then she startles him by suggesting that they should use the monkey's paw to wish Herbert alive again. Mr. White is utterly horrified at the thought of summoning their son back from the grave, especially as he was mangled beyond recognition in the accident. However, Miss White is too excited to listen to reason and forces her husband to make the wish upon the monkey's paw. Then she waits by the window, but no one comes. In great relief, Mr. White returns to bed, and after a while his wife joins him. Presently, Mr. White gets up again to light a candle. While on the stairs, he suddenly hears a soft knock at the front door. Terrified, he rushes back to the bedroom. His wife is roused by the commotion as she tries to pretend it was just a rat making the noise. However, the knocking grows louder. Miss White is ecstatic, believing that her son has indeed returned, and hurries downstairs to let him in before her husband can stop her. Mr. White is left with only one course of action, to make a final wish in the monkey's paw. We are not told exactly what it is, but when he makes it, the knocking stops abruptly. When Miss White opens the door, there is nobody there.
Okay. So that is the monkey's paw, right? Be careful what you wish for. You might just get it.
The story is set in England around the turn of the
No.
20th century. It opens with the elder.
No, there we go. Okay, sorry. All right, so what warning was given about the paw? And that was if you make a wish, it's going to come true, right? If you are given this paw and you make a wish on it, it will come true. Okay, it might not come true in the way that you expected it to, but it's going to come true. Okay. What common Gothic literary device is this warning? This is foreshadowing. Okay, this is a foreshadowing as a literary device, right? Giving us a clue about something that's going to happen in the future, right? We know because of this that the family is going to make some kind of a wish that's going to go wrong, right? What is ironic about the 200 pounds that Mr. White receives? Okay, so remember their first wish was for 200 pounds. Well, what was ironic about this was that the 200 pounds was received because of the death of his son, right? His son had died in a terrible, terrible freak accident at work. And because of that, the family was being compensated 200 pounds. So he got his wish of 200 pounds, but it came at the cost of the death of his son. The second wish that they make is to bring Herbert back to life. Herbert is their son. Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing to wish for? And this is really up to you, but remember, this is the Gothic genre. Okay, so wishing somebody back to life isn't necessarily going to mean that they're going to be exactly the way that they were before. Okay, so I am one to vote for this is a terrible idea, right? Because I've read Dracula, I've read Frankenstein, I've read a lot of these classic Gothic literature stories and things. And so I know that when you bring somebody back from the dead, they're not the way that they were before. They're going to come back creepy and grotesque and horrible. Okay, so this is bad, bad idea. The narrator doesn't reveal Mr. White's third and final, frantically breathed wish. What are we supposed to assume his wish is? Okay, so remember, they open the door after, they wished for the son to come back to life. Okay, they started to hear the knocking at the door, the incessant, crazy knocking at the door. Okay, so then he makes the third wish and they open the door and it's empty. There's nothing there. Okay, so we are supposed to assume that he wished his son was dead again. Okay, so he wished for his own son's death. That is what we are supposed to assume. Now, why do you think Mr. White wished for that? Well, he thought that his son was going to be some kind of like a creepy zombie thing or like some sort of a vampire thing or Frankenstein monster thing or whatever. Like he was expecting his son to be some sort of a grotesque undead monster. And so that is why he made that wish. Do you agree with this phrase? Be careful what you wish for, you may receive it. Again, this is an opinion question. Okay, it's totally up to you how you feel about that, but make sure that you put together a complete thought for that question. Okay, and we will talk about the parody for The Monkey's Paw next week. We're going to watch that. It's really funny Simpsons episode. Please don't look it up because I've already got it recorded for you. It's awesome, super funny. We're going to watch that and finish out your reading guide. And then remember, we've got your test next week on Thursday, and then your reading guide is due next week on Friday. I've given you that extra day just in case you need it. But of course, if you have it finished on Monday after class, then you're going to turn it in on Monday. Okay. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions whatsoever as you're working on finishing your reading guide. And I hope you all have a really great day. Thanks. I'll see you later.